I'm about to share with you something that has made me more money than anything that I've ever stumbled across in my life. And I want to share with you so you can apply it in your life and also get results. So if you are new here, I'm a trombone player that has built multiple 7-figure businesses and also taught other musicians how to build 7-figure businesses too. And my name is Paul the Trombonist Online, and this is how we go with it. So before we get to what I'm going to share with you, we need to first identify a few things. First, we need to identify who is your audience. Okay, so this is the first step. Who is your audience? Is your audience trombone players? Is your audience people interested in jazz? Is your audience flute players? Who is your audience? So first you got to identify your audience. Is your audience flute players that are coming back after a long time away from it? Are they beginning flute players, intermediate, whatever that may be? First you need to identify the audience. Once you identify the audience, what you need to do after that is you need to identify what is their current situation. What are they dealing with right now? What are they struggling with right now? What is the problems that they're facing right now? Okay, we first got to start with the problem. What problem do they have? Because we need to solve this problem. Okay, that's what we need to do. And then what you need to do after that is you want to say to yourself, okay, where do they want to go? What is their desired future situation? Where do they want to go? Okay? And then from there, we can construct something called the big domino. I learned this from Russell Brunson, and I know he learned it from other people, and I think he coined the term big domino. However, this concept has been around, right? And it's essentially a statement that says, if I can make audience believe that path is best way to their desired future, and the best way to get there is through your offer name, all objections become irrelevant and they must invest. Okay, so the way I like to look at this is I like to imagine that I'm in a courtroom and I'm proving myself to the jury. And everything I say in my marketing, everything from the ads they see, the webinars they see, the emails they see, the landing page, the order page, anything they see in my marketing, I say to myself, does this support the big domino or does it not support the big domino? And if it supports the big domino, we're on track. If it does not support the big domino, then I don't put it in the marketing. Okay, but I'm going to do an example for an offer that I did. It's an improvisation offer, helping musicians with improvisation. So my audience are musicians. Okay, their current situation is they don't know how to improvise and they like to improvise. So the audience is really musicians that are intrigued by the idea of improvisation. That's really the audience, right? The current situation, they're not too good at it right now. They want to become good at it. Okay, and how are we going to get them to get there? Well, we need to come up with a path. So this is how a path can work. A path can be anything that you believe will help them get to the desired future situation. And it can be in multiple ways you can help them get to the desired future situation. But the way I like to look at it is what path can help them the most effectively and then roll with that. Okay? Because there's lots of ways you can help people. But what is the path that can help them the most effectively? So in this improvisation example, the path that I want to share with everyone is chord tones. And the reason that I want to choose this path is because this helped me when I started to improvise the most. Because people would talk about scales, 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 scales. And then I realized is that if you just improvise on the 1, 3, 5, 7 and use chord tones and then connect them by half steps, it sounds melodic and beautiful and it simplifies the process of improvising. And then you can throw scales on it later and it's like icing on the cake. So that's the path, is chord tones. And that's what I want to share with everyone. And then what you do is once you find the path, you want to prop it up as a new way. So even if it's not a new way, so for example, chord tones have been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years, right? It's nothing new. However, I'm positioning it as a new way. And then once you have the new way, you want to throw rocks at every single other way that anyone could possibly want to go on to get to this desired future situation in your marketing messaging. Because people like new opportunities. They don't like improvement offers. They like new opportunities. It's the same way when someone is wanting to go on a diet, they always come up with these new diet names and present it as a new opportunity, but really it's all just eat well and exercise, and they just repackage these things as a new path. So we can take that insight and apply it to this concept and then shed a new light into this path is a new opportunity for everyone else. Okay? And then we write out all the old ways other people would do to get to this desired future situation. So in this instance, everyone is interested in learning how to improvise. What are the other ways they would go on? Scales, they would do transcriptions, they do some of these method books, they would do some of those ways. And what we could do is we could throw rocks at those ways and show, although they may be helpful in everything, I want to share with you on how if you go this route and just study with chord tones and get this together, that's going to give you a stronger foundation and make you more comfortable improvising. So the big domino in this instance is if I can make musicians intrigued by the idea of improvisation believe that chord tone solos are the most powerful way to unlock their ability to improvise so they can have a deeper connection with their instrument, connect with the audience more, and almost speak out of their instrument like it's their native language, then all objections become irrelevant and they must invest. And the only way to do that is through my Offer Magic Music Improvisation. And I do this for every webinar, every piece of marketing I do. And that's why it converts really well, is because when you do it this way, it's really the most powerful way to build your marketing message. And then from there, everything's built off it. So that's the very first stage. So if you're wondering, how do I grow a business? What do I do to grow a business? This is how you start. You first start with what is the problem people have? Because it's all about solving problems. Every single business is about solving problems. What problem am I solving? Once you figure out what problem you're solving, then you write down who's the audience that you're solving that problem with, what is their current situation that they're dealing with, what is their desired future situation that they want to go to, and what path can you take them on that you can prop up as a new way. And then you want to write out all of the old other ways people would normally go on to get to this desired future situation. And you want to list them all out, everything is possible you can, and figure out how I can throw rocks at them in the messaging. So how do you do that? Well, you just tell stories, and you could do it with your own life. Like, so you may be thinking, well, I want to learn, everyone told me to do scales for improvisation. And okay, now let's listen to the people you look up to. Does it sound like a scale? No. Why is that? It's because it sounds melodic. Well, what's happening? Well, they're starting their idea on a chord tone. They're ending their idea on a chord tone. And then you can fill it in like that. And what doing chord tones first allows you to have a strong foundation. So then that way you playing melodically through the harmony, and then everything else is like icing on the cake once you get it. Don't believe me? Here we go. And then I would play like a chord tone solo. And I'd be like, see that? Did that sound melodic to you? Yeah, it did. And I'm like, once you do this, it simplifies improvising. You don't have to know all these scales. And then they're like sold by it. You see, they're like, oh, that makes so much sense, right? And that's how you guys got to approach your messaging and your marketing. Is you got to understand that it's all built on that. And once you have that big domino, what you can do is every decision you make in your marketing, you have to say to yourself, does this support the big domino or does this not support the big domino? And if it doesn't support the big domino, don't do it. And if it does support the domino, do it. And imagine you're in a courtroom and the jury's there and you're proving your case to the jury, proving the big domino. And if you do it correctly, the jury, they vote with their credit card and their wallet. So hopefully that was helpful. This is Paul the Trombonist. If you like business advice out here, sure to subscribe to the channel. I have some other resources in the description, a free class, a free group, and let me know what's your biggest takeaway from this video. I appreciate you stopping by. Take care.